All right, folks, let's talk about China and Taiwan. Two places that are closer than your high school exes who said they could stay friends. The year is 1949. Imagine a civil war raging in China between the communists and the nationalists, also known as the Kuomintang or KMT. Long story short, the communists, led by Mao Zedong, ended up winning. The nationalists, feeling unwelcome, packed their bags and headed to an island just off the coast of Taiwan. They brought their government, their hopes, and most importantly, their pineapple cake recipes. China still sees Taiwan as part of its family, even if Taiwan has been living independently and paying its own bills for decades. It's complicated, and that, my friends, is the SparkNotes version of how this whole China-Taiwan thing got started. Okay, so we've got China, a rising superpower with a bit of a chip on its shoulder about the whole Taiwan thing, and then we've got Taiwan, a vibrant democracy chilling on an island, sipping bubble tea, and wondering why everyone's making such a fuss. Enter the One China policy, China's way of saying, look, there's only one China, and Taiwan is a part of it. Taiwan's like, hold up, we've got our own government, our own military, and we even issue our own passports. Most countries, including the United States, officially acknowledge China's position, but also maintain unofficial relations with Taiwan. It's like telling your friend you're on their side in an argument, but then secretly slipping their opponent a 20. China keeps saying that reunification with Taiwan is inevitable, even if it means using a little persuasion. Taiwan is determined to maintain its independence, even though it's walking a diplomatic tightrope. Let's talk about Taiwan for a second. This island nation, with a population larger than Australia, has a thriving economy, a robust democracy, and legendary night markets. They've even got their own military, which is mostly there to make a point, because going up against China's military is like bringing a water gun to a tank fight. But here's the catch. Taiwan isn't officially recognized as a country by most of the world. China has made it clear that any attempt at independence would be met with unfavorable consequences. So Taiwan is stuck in this weird limbo, a fully functioning democracy that's not allowed to call itself a country. Section 4, War Games and Uncle Sam, a delicate balancing act. China, feeling all big and powerful, decides to flex its military muscles by flying fighter jets a little too close to Taiwan's airspace. Taiwan scrambles its own jets, essentially playing a high-stakes game of chicken in the sky. Meanwhile, the United States, like the concerned but slightly overprotective friend, is watching the whole thing unfold with a mixture of anxiety and a touch of "I told you so." Tensions have been escalating in recent years, with China becoming increasingly assertive in its claims over Taiwan. America has a long-standing policy of strategic ambiguity when it comes to Taiwan. This ambiguity is meant to deter China from invading while also preventing Taiwan from making any rash decisions that might provoke a conflict. But here's the thing about ambiguity. It only works if everyone understands the rules of the game. And right now, with China becoming more assertive and the US trying to maintain its global dominance, those rules seem to be changing by the day. Section 5. Making money and making history, the China-Taiwan economic tango. Despite all the political drama and military posturing, China and Taiwan are actually major trading partners. Taiwan, with its tech-savvy workforce and expertise in manufacturing, is a major supplier of electronic components and semiconductors. And guess who's one of Taiwan's biggest customers? You guessed it, China. This economic interdependence creates a fascinating dynamic. On the one hand, it gives China a strong incentive to avoid any actions that might disrupt this lucrative trade relationship. On the other hand, this economic reliance also makes Taiwan vulnerable. So while the economic ties between China and Taiwan might seem like a positive thing, they also add another layer of complexity to this already tangled web of a relationship. Section 6. To declare or not to declare. Taiwan's independence dilemma. Taiwan is facing a real head-scratcher. Should they officially declare independence and risk a potential conflict with China? Or should they maintain the status quo and hope that things magically work themselves out? Declaring independence would be a bold statement, a way for Taiwan to finally step out of China's shadow and claim its place on the world stage. But here's the catch. China has made it abundantly clear that any move towards independence would be met with swift and decisive action. So declaring independence is a bit like jumping out of a plane without a parachute, exhilarating but potentially disastrous. On the other hand, maintaining the status quo means living in a constant state of uncertainty, never knowing when China might decide to turn up the heat. It's like dating someone who refuses to define the relationship. Frustrating, confusing, and ultimately unsustainable in the long run. Taiwan's decision will have far-reaching consequences for the region and the world.